Hello, nerds and nerdettes. Welcome back to the channel where once again we have a new review for you guys on a somewhat recently released, not freshly released, but recently, and that is the beautiful book to my right, which is Callie, one that absolutely knocked my socks off. But before we do the deep dive, I do want to remind you guys that if you're looking for any books I review or the books behind me, head on over to the channel sponsor, organicpricebooks.com. Use that discount code Stay Nerdy during checkout to get $2 off your order, as well as help support the channel, which so many of you have already been blowing out of the water. So thank you for that. But without further ado, we can jump into the book itself. This is a independent Dark Horse comic book. It is not from the Big Two. It is what I would consider a library edition based off the parameters. Just as a quick comparison, we do have a Marvel omnibus, and holding it side by side, you can tell that it is much larger than a omnibus as far as its dimensions. It is a book with a cover price of $30 and a page count of 176 pages. So not a thick book by any means, but still an impressive one. But we can talk a little bit about the details during the overhead shots and also take a really good look at the beautiful art inside. And here we are, the beautiful Callie hardcover edition. This is a very beautiful and large book by Dark Horse. I would probably say it's a library edition, but I just think they have it marketed as a hardcover, so we'll call it that. But as I've said before, it does have a very awesome wraparound cover style of board. Art is directly on board. There is no dust jacket, and it is absolutely beautiful on the shelf. But let's get right into the book itself. As you can tell, lots of love went into the construction of this book. These are just simply the end pages, which has a bunch of panels from the book splattered all about. And then this is the name of the gang, Matrikas, probably butchering that. And then yet another title page, Matrikas to the left, character of Callie on the right. A little bit about the creators, the editor, designer, digital art technician, and then of course written by Daniel Friedman and illustrated by Robert Semelin. Probably pronouncing that wrong, as I've said. Art is absolutely top-notch through this book. And then we get kind of what this book is dedicated to, as well as a little brief, read. But getting right into the comic itself, we do pick up with the character of Callie in a somewhat arrested state, being essentially shuffled into slavery. You do find out, which I'm going to only hint on the story, that she is a leader of a gang known as the Matikas, and you do also find out that she's been backstabbed, literally and figuratively, by her sister and members of her gang. So she instantly breaks out of the slave kind of cartel that she is being brought into during the beginning of the book, and immediately goes after her gang to get revenge. Now, know more about the story to avoid spoilers, because it is not as simple as one would think. It is a little bit more complicated than you'd think. Going into the book, you would probably think that it would be a little bit of a story about really nothing but action, but there is quite a bit of depth there. There is a large amount of action throughout, probably the entire book being full of it, full of action with multiple different types of villains, fights, settings, you name it, it's all here. But it does have a little bit of depth to its story. Another aspect of the opening story that I do want to hint on, or hit on at least, is that she is also poisoned early on in the story. So you do have a little bit of that rush as a reader, feeling like the time is ticking for this character that you're reading about, and it is awesome. You feel like you're moving fast. You have no time to even read because you're identifying with this character and the way she is going out for vengeance, and you trust that the thing that she wants is right, and you don't question it, and you're there for it. A lot of characters, not super fleshed out. As I've said, it is a smaller book, so really only 2 characters out of the entire supporting cast get fleshed out, but you do still have a decent amount of characters that are very reminiscent of like Bond villains and Bond characters. You have a sniper-like character that specializes in poison. You have the big bad female character with the blonde hair and a suit. A lot of your kind of typical tropes when it pertains to villains and kind of the characters that you would see in a Bond film or a standard action film. And that's honestly the best way I would describe this reading experience overall. Is definitely a action movie. I'm just adjusting light because of just how bright or glossy these pages are. Very beautiful treatment of the material. Even these pages, super thick, glossy pages, absolutely beautiful. But an absolutely amazing book. Art throughout is breathtaking when it comes to the setting, the characters. As you can tell here, there's a hint of realism, but also that comic booky goodness that we all look for. Heavy shadowing, heavy color palettes, very much a book that is trying to give off a tone of confusion, a tone of action, a tone of time ticking, and they hit the nail on the head. An absolutely amazing book with such an amazing twist at the end. The writer and the artist do work very well in conjunction with one another. I don't think anyone overshines the other. Well, I'll have to say the art definitely does probably overshine the writing just a little bit, just because it is that breathtaking. At the end of the book, you do have your typical extras, of course, character designs, a little bit about the paneling, how they went about it. This is really cool how they break down the panel during a conversation, which I think this is as close to cinematography as a comic book can really get. You can see borderline storytelling or storyboarding taking place, and then the final product at the bottom. Such a cool extra and a cool touch. But other than that, we do get a script, some covers, and then the end of the book with the same kind of end pages that are also beautiful. But that does wrap up the Book of Cali, so we'll head back to the table with some closing thoughts on the book itself and what I thought about it. And welcome back. So if you guys cannot tell, I very much enjoyed this story. The art, the storytelling, I feel like was top-notch, and I feel like it's a book that not enough people are talking about. I feel like it ticks a lot of boxes, especially with the breakneck speed storytelling, fighting, action, cinematic style stories and scenes, the awesome twist at the end. I definitely think this book should be talked about more, especially pertaining to the art by Robert Semmelin, which I hope I'm pronouncing that right, which I'm probably not, but he absolutely killed the artwork on this book. Every aspect of the paneling, of the storytelling through the art was perfect in my opinion. It was realistic, yet comic booky at the same time. So much like a movie paneling or a movie storyboard. It was amazing. Left me more oftentimes than not after reading the speech bubbles just kind of staring at the page and enjoying the beautiful art. But when it does come to the story, like I said, the twist at the end was one I was not expecting at all. I am a huge fan of the twist on everyone's a hero in their own story kind of way. Not trying to give away too much, but this story definitely plays with that concept quite a bit. And it was one that I wasn't expecting, because once you start reading and see how action-packed and fast-moving the story is, you don't expect that much depth to actually come across, but by the time you get to the end of the book, it is deeper than you would expect, which is absolutely awesome. Every aspect of this book, I definitely far exceeded expectations, and you can probably see this on my top 10 favorite reads of the year. And the construction of this book is beautiful as well. They definitely put their foot in the entire design of the book, which I always appreciate, because obviously a good story is amazing, but a beautiful book also helps out just the reading experience when you're holding it in your hand, and it looks like something you're going to thoroughly enjoy before you even read a single page. But definitely impressed me, and because of that, I do give it an 8.7 out of 10. Just shy of that 9 mark, but still, even reaching that rating in a page with 176 books, pages, not books, 176 pages is beyond impressive, and definitely a book that more people should be talking about. But that does wrap up today's review. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself, and I hope you guys checked out Callie. It is an amazing book that, like I said, I really do not think enough people are reviewing, talking about, or reading, and I do think it's worth the read. And honestly, even if you don't like the story, the book's design alone is such a amazing and beautiful collector's piece as well, if you're into more of the collecting aspect of books. But if you did read it, please comment down below. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. I feel like there's not enough discussion around this book, and I would love to have some, especially in this community with so many amazing people and so many differing opinions also. I think it would be a very interesting topic to discuss. But if you could also do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button if you did enjoy today's video, and if you are not a part of the Illuminati, hit that subscribe button as well. It's an amazing community that we are building together, and it is very, very much a fun place. And if you did enjoy the video, and you did enjoy maybe any of my prior videos, then do yourself a favor and hit that bell icon. That way you can get notified anytime I put out content. Right now we're hitting at 3 videos a week with reels, shorts, TikToks in between. So we're pumping out some pretty decent content, and we are trying to get this channel to its next goal, which is going to be 1K subscribers. So if you could help out with that, I would be very appreciative of that. But other than that, thank you so much for watching once again, and of course, stay nerdy.